Country 101.7, and time for Lauren Rich Consulting to join me here. Monday morning we get to talk. Today you kind of teased me with the topic today, participation trophies. What's up with that? Because I've always been in disagreement with those.
Well,
and I'll tell you why in a moment. But why is it our theme today?
It's our theme today because I am a disgruntled Sooner fan that has watched two ridiculous, unnecessary losses in a row. And I'm not here to be Traber. I'm not, we're not really here for football analysis, but wow is all I can say. And it looked like, at least in my opinion, and watching people and their behavior and psychology and all that kind of stuff, that these kids were legitimately surprised the last 2 weeks when they lost. They were in shock that their work was not good enough to win.
Right, and a lot of that, though, is the heritage, the history of Oklahoma,
the reputation of, yes.
And so there's kind of an expectation to win. Even with the Sooner fans, there's some psychology going on right now, too.
Absolutely.
I'm having a tough time swallowing 2 losses, and many folks may not have looked ahead. We have Texas, Texas weekend Saturday.
It's OU Texas weekend Saturday, and I'm not having a hard time swallowing the losses. I am not happy, not happy. And it's not that I think that we deserve to win. I actually think that we deserve to lose those games because we did not play well.
The score at the end of the game is what I live with. Whether you get the bad calls or whatever, you have to overcome all of it.
I think we are to the point where we finally have our first generation of participation trophy children in NCAA sports, and it's starting to show, because it's not like I don't see this when other teams play football too. It's all of them, and when they have a small play that they do well, like we had a block on Saturday that 5 or 6 of them were really proud of. I mean, you'd think they were out there with Vince Lombardi and that they were winning Super Bowls by their response. And then when they lose, they're totally devastated, like they've been watching a completely different ball game.
Right.
And so in thinking about that process, we have to understand that participation trophies are doing our kids a disservice. And it does that in 2 different ways. The first is an economic sense. When there is no scarcity of something, it has no value. And when everybody gets a trophy, it has no value.
Right. You got to earn a trophy. That's what I always told my kids. Now, I get maybe getting a patch or a certificate saying you were a member of the team, and even recognize perfect attendance.
Yes.
You were always on time for games. You were always something. But just to have a trophy to go, I mean, to me, I would throw it away.
Yes.
I don't want one unless I win it.
And some parents are saying, I appreciate the kindness, but we don't want a participation trophy, and I applaud them for that, because that's a really tough spot to be in as a parent. But when we devalue hard work and we reward everyone for putting forth mediocre or average effort, we are minimizing the work of those kids that do really well. And those kids deserve the acknowledgement. They deserve the 1st and 2nd place trophies. They deserve to have their work acknowledged and praised. And when we give everybody a trophy, that is completely gone.
Well, everybody's being acknowledged and praised regardless of skill level or talent or anything else.
And so then we get to the work world, and all of a sudden we're in shock that salaries are merit-based, or that your performance evaluation is based off of the quality product that you put out, not just whether or not you show up to work.
Sure.
And I remember working in the government system and having a coworker tell me, they were talking about 2 people in Tulsa, and they were psychologists, so they're on the higher level of education, which means they're of the higher level of pay. And she made a comment that one didn't get paid what the other did. And I said, when that one is worth half the weight that one is, then they can get paid the same amount. But they're not putting forth the same quality product, and therefore they shouldn't get the same pay.
The work world's completely different. Unless you find a place to work where there's a buddy system, and the boss pulls the buddies along regardless of their. I mean, you'll find pockets of that are different from the real world, but you just start at scratch somewhere and you know no one, it's all on your ethic, it's all on your social ability.
Well,
it's
and
on
when
a
we
lot of that
don't
stuff.
allow them to compete as children, they don't know how to compete as adults. And
Well, you
so
don't know how to lose.
you don't know how to lose. And more importantly, you start maybe jumping into the entrepreneur world and you can't figure out why your business isn't doing well. It's not doing well because you're not
Why aren't
competing
customers
well
buying
with
our
others.
products?
Yes, exactly. It's because your product is inferior and not as
Or
good as the other product.
unadvertised and unmarketed, or
Yeah.
too many competitors,
Yeah.
or a million other things.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to take the good with the bad, though, right? I mean, you have to be able to take the
absolutely.
bad. It doesn't mean that all is bad and you're terrible.
And
It
that
just means
is
work has
exactly
to be
part of
done
the problem
somewhere.
with participation trophies is that children learn, everyone learns by losing. We learn more from losing than we do from winning.
I
We learn
agree.
what to correct. We learn how to come back from that. It makes us stronger, more resilient people. And so
The
when
lesson learned is so important.
when we take away that negative reinforcement of losing, we've gained nothing. You
I've
know?
always been against them.
I have too.
I mean, I
have
think
too.
that kids need some recognition if they
Mhm.
put time and commitment. And I say kids, adults
Mhm.
too. There's adult organizations that do similar things.
Mhm.
You know, everybody in the company gets some kind of award during the Christmas party or whatever. So I mean, it can extend into adulthood. But
Mhm.
you know, if you don't really earn something, to me, it'd just be worthless.
It
to
has
have.
no
I mean,
value.
it has no value.
And we look at that from the military standpoint and from the standpoint of men, and men are natural competitors. Do we get participation trophies when we go to Iraq? No, we
No.
don't. We don't, because we're competing to win, and competing to win means competing to live and to come home. And so the major error, I think the major psychological error that we're producing as a result of participation trophies is that kids have this inflated ego or this narcissism developing that they're the very best at everything. And as a parent, you have to be able to offer constructive criticism to your children and not buy into that participation mentality.
Now, there's
And
a lot
so-
of parents that
Oh, man.
are against that and
Yes.
want to work with their kids because
Yes.
they know that if they're ever going to have a career in football past middle school or high school, that they
a career in sports at all.
right they have
Yes.
to rise above.
Yes, exactly. And so constructive criticism for parents really looks like, hey son, when they say, how did I do, Dad? Well,
How do you think you did?
You
Number one.
did well at 2-point shots, but we need to improve the 3-point shot. And the wording is so important. The less you use the word but, the better off you're going to be. So the sentence really should be, you did excellent at the 2-point shots, and we need to work on your 3-point shots.
Right.
Because sometimes people don't hear anything beyond the but. Okay, it erases everything before.
Yeah,
So
that's the one thing about that
yes,
one word. It's an
yes.
eraser word.
So
It sure is.
offering constructive criticism is really important, but we've seen this seep into military life.
And
the fact that we are doing away with certain things, that how much you can yell at somebody, the toughness, basically.
Are
Are
they softening that in the military?
Oh, it has seeped in terribly.
Because
Yes.
growing up,
Yes.
boot camp was something that you would have to prepare mentally and begin to be physically fit for, because they're going to totally go for your body and your mind
Yes.
and
Yes.
all of it. You have
Absolutely.
to be a strong person
We are.
to get through.
We have become soft at home, which means we're going to be soft with the enemy when we get out there. And so this idea of competition isn't just in sports. It goes into everything. It goes into business life. It goes into our career. It goes into whether or not they are successful in military life. And those beliefs and those principles about working hard and being committed to something and learning from our mistakes starts when we're young children.